Now we've arrived at the rock art site at Wong Chuk Hang. Wong Chuk Hang is among one of the 9 places which host rock carvings in Hong Kong, and is a significant place, famous for its accessibility as well as its difference, which is quite striking from other rock art sites.
These patterns are geometric patterns, and they share similarities with a lot of other rock carvings found across Hong Kong. These patterns usually symbolize a lot of things, but there's still a lot of debate going on as to which meaning it particularly has. Some could say it symbolizes forces of nature, such as clouds, thunder, or waves. Some could say it suggests hints of animals or humans, and some may think that they are deities or tribal totems.
Another thing to note is that this rock art is believed to be dated back to the Bronze Age. In fact, most of the rock art in Hong Kong are believed to be found in the Bronze Age. The reason for that is because the Bronze Age is closely related to the Roaring Stage during Chinese history.
In those years, a large influx of Yun civilizations came down to Hong Kong. It is believed that they used rock art to record down their lives.
Now moving on to this geometric pattern.
Through the meandering and spiral shapes, it looks like some waves or something related to nature. Another thing to note is that these rock carvings are similar to those of Chenzhou and Po Toi Island. However, it is very different in terms of size and location.
In my opinion, I believe the one on the right particularly resembles stylized animal figures.
For example, the one on the right particularly looks like a moth or a butterfly, and they could perhaps represent certain creatures that used to be around the stream or this area, when people were living here and carving these rocks.
It was very interesting how you believe that these rock arts are related to animals like butterflies. However, I think that, especially butterflies, they don't really have a high tribal significance back in the days.
Well, it is possible that these patterns do not necessarily have a great importance or significance as a tribal totem.
It is still possible to infer what these rock arts mean through the surroundings, like the environment or the creatures or humans that used to live by. For example, we might infer that the rock art on the left side relates to elements of nature because we can see that there is a stream and there's water bodies surrounding this area.
However, it's important to note that this rock art site is especially far away from the sea, unlike all other rock art. It's 1 kilometer away from the sea, so it might be difficult to establish the fact that these are patterns of waves or sea waves.
That's a good statement. I believe that it might not exactly be related to sea waves, but rather, as what you said, as there are stream nearby and water bodies, it could relate to how nature surrounds us and how the people who drew these want to show how nature is shown in their daily lives.
Right. So these rock art and these patterns are still up for interpretation, and it is indeed very difficult to establish by who, when, and how exactly these drawings came to be, because they lack a literary record of how these things were made and came to be.
The Wong Chuk Hang rock carvings came to light when it was casually mentioned by villagers at a district committee meeting in 1983. Now, they are declared monuments, being preserved as nearly as possible in its natural state, which is the preferred way of preservation as opposed to being contained in a man-made glass box. What more can we do to help preserve and promote these rock art then? Perhaps one solution would be to include more data and drawing of the patterns to visitors, as well as establish a public code to follow when visiting these heritage sites.
Another very important thing is when visiting these rock arts, it's very important to treasure them. So do not throw rubbish, do not play with them, do not try and touch them. Just look at them and appreciate them with your eyes or cameras.
Rock art is a cultural heritage, representing an immovable element of a certain culture created on natural rocky supports, encompassing human experience and wisdom among many things. Though we may not yet understand them fully, let us at least learn to appreciate it and not cause further harm to these wonderful mysteries.